You are never upset. You are never depressed for the reason you think you are. Most of humanity is constantly stressed or in depression or feeling bad about themselves. It is so bad that in fact many people feel guilty about feeling happy. They think that if they are happy today, something bad is going to happen to them soon. That day where they can be God, the universe, karma, will punish them for being happy. And that misery is our natural state of being. Many people do not even feel they deserve to be happy. For whatever reason, they tell themselves, oh, I was a bad child, a bad parent, a bad husband, a bad blah blah blah. I'm such a bad person. I don't deserve to be happy. The fact is, what you think you deserve or not means fuck all to the universe. Joy, and with joy I mean not happiness but joy. Joy is a feeling of happiness that comes from inside of you, and that has no known source or cause. So when you watch a YouTube video of a cat dancing and laugh, that is happiness, because you're happy due to something external of you. You saw something and you're happy. Later on, when you get your bank statement and see that you're overdrawn, you will become sad or unhappy. And again, in both of these cases, your happiness or lack of is caused by something external to you, something out of you. True joy does not come from out of you. It comes from within, and it has no cause or reason. You could be walking down this road and feel joyful. You could be sitting in your car and feeling joyful. You could have had the worst day of your life and still feel joyful, because joy comes from within. So in some ways, most people are correct when they think that if they're happy today, they will have to suffer tomorrow, because that is the law of form, the law of manifestation. Day follows night, clouds follow sun, sunny days follow rainy days, winter follows summer, happiness follows sadness, and so on. If you live in the outer world, then it is true, you will have to move between happiness and suffering. But, and this is a but with a capital B, capital U, capital T, but if you live the inner life, if your inner being is more defined or more prominent than your outer being, then you are no longer bound by the laws of karma, by the laws of coming and going, happiness and sadness. because the inner being always feels joy, always feels happiness, and is always in a state of bliss. What does all of this have to do with our original topic? You are never depressed for the reason you think. When you feel upset or depressed, you try to find a cause outside of you. My wife doesn't love me. My boss doesn't respect me. My children are brats. My parents are also brats. Everyone hates me. They are out to get me. Where they can be the government or the big business or your neighbor who parks his car slightly 1 centimeter in front of your house. They're all out to get you. But here's the thing. This is something that must be felt in meditation and not understood intellectually. I will describe it to you, but I want you to sit quietly in a meditation and actually meditate on this. I will give you a few minutes to meditate on this after the instruction. The instruction is simple. Sit quietly with your eyes closed and go inside and ask yourself, how do you feel? Do you feel happy? Or do you feel sad? Next, think back to all the times when you were feeling sad or depressed. Now try to think, was there always a reason why you were depressed? Seriously, be honest with yourself. Every time you were depressed, was there an external reason for it? Or were you depressed first and then your mind tried to find a reason? I am depressed because my boyfriend won't call me. I am depressed because I'm not getting a promotion at work. These are all narratives of the mind, stories of the mind. Stories that our mind tells us to justify our feelings of sadness and depression. But I want you to really meditate on the sadness. Really go deep within, feel the pain, feel the depression, feel the sadness. Actually feel it. And tell me what you find. I want you to pause the audio now. Please pause the audio and do this meditation, if only for 5 minutes. If not 5 minutes, then 1 minute, but please do it. It is important that you realize where this sadness comes from. I'll see you in a minute or 5 minutes or so. Okay, I hope you actually did do the meditation and didn't just burn through it. If you couldn't do it at a later time, but please do it. You have been suppressing your anger for so long, for so many years. It is now time to actually feel the pain, the sadness, the depression. To actually feel it, to touch it and see how it feels like. What it feels like. If you did the meditation correctly, and if you have a level of awareness, you will realize that this sadness has always been there. You have always felt sad or scared about something in the pit of your stomach, like someone poking a needle at you from the inside. That's what this fear feels like. And it's an fear with no known cause. Nobody knows, or you cannot yet know where it comes from. And this fear is always this fear which turns into sadness or depression, or sometimes anger when you project it onto others. But the same fear. This sadness, fear has always been with us. It is a constant state of our humanity. We are all, and I mean every single one of us, always depressed, sad, feel fearful inside. If you don't believe me, recently there was a big Hollywood star, comedian, who committed suicide. He was a millionaire many times over. He made other people laugh. But he was depressed himself. When he died, people did many psychoanalysis about why he could have been depressed. But the fact is, it is worst for rich people, for millionaires like movie stars. Because ordinary people like you and me, we can say, oh, once I have money, I'll be happy. Once I can buy a big car, I'll be happy. We can always live in the future, or we can project into the past. I was happy when I was a child. Times were simpler then. No, times were not simpler. They were still as shit as they are today. So most of us project into the future. We think that one day we'll be richer, happier, sexier, everythinger, and that all our pains will go away. But if you're a multimillionaire movie star, you have all the money you could ever spend, people admire you, beautiful women want to have sex with you, and you still feel like shit, and you still don't know why. That's when life gets really horrible. Because you have everything they think you need to be happy, and you still feel like shit. And that's why I say, this feeling of pain, which can manifest as sadness, depression, fear, anger, it comes from inside of us. You are never depressed for the reason you think you are. You're not upset because someone said something to you, because someone hurt your feelings. In fact, when someone insults you, or when something bad happens, many of us actually feel happy, because we can now project our inner pain onto others. We can say, oh, I'm depressed because so-and-so insulted me, called me fat or poor, or not attractive enough. And for a small time period, our pain becomes justified. Our fear becomes justified. Our sadness becomes justified. But then you move on. Something good happens to you. Good things happen. And you still feel like shit. And that's when it gets really worse. Because the outer world is going correctly, happily for you, but you're still feeling bad. And you cannot explain why. And that's what really gets to people. They cannot explain their depression. Everything is supposedly good for them. And here I'm talking about normal people. I'm not talking about people who are horribly abused as children. No, sir, no. If you were, you need to see a psychotherapist. That's a different case. I'm talking about your average Joe or average Jane. Live in a good house, have a good job, drive a good car to work. May not be millionaires, but they're not starving either. And they're still unhappy. In this case, you wonder, why am I unhappy? How do I fix this? The thing is, you can't fix it. not while you're stuck in the outer world of form, in the world of manifestation. You are depressed because you have lost touch with who you are. And who you are is not the psychological self you think you are. It's not your mental thoughts or the person you introduce yourself as at parties. You are not that. Your real self, your true self, is a being of radiant joy and peace. And you have lost completely touch with that inner being, that inner self made of joy and happiness. And that's the reason you are sad. It's like someone has stolen your memories. Someone has stolen a part of you, a part of your soul. In this case, it's not someone outside of you, but you yourself who have forgotten who you are. This separation from our real self, this real self which can be called the spirit, being or God, this separation is the real cause of all our problems, all our depression, all of our pains of life, the pain of living as it were. And like I said, it's worse for people nowadays, especially in the West, where the standard of living has improved. People live happy, comfortable lives, and yet they feel miserable. And they hope that one day when they become millionaires, their pain will go away. But it won't. Just look at all the rich Hollywood types who commit suicide or overdose on drugs. If they cannot be happy, then trust me, you can't. You're not depressed because something outside happened. Trust me, it's a load of bullshit. And again, I'll clarify, I'm not talking about people who were abused horribly as children. Completely different case. I'm talking about normal Joe Schmoes here. You're never depressed for anything that is happening to you from outside. That is a lie. Your mind tells you. Your mind wants to be in control. It wants to tell you how to live your life. And all your problems arise from the fact that you identify with the mind, with a constant stream of thoughts running around in your head. The mind cannot understand this pain because it comes from a source beyond the mind. Now, the mind is not a bad thing, as it were. It is a good servant, but it is out of control. The mind thinks it needs to find a solution to every problem. So when it finds our pain, when it feels our pain, it tries to look for a cause in the outer world, which is the only place the mind knows. And that is why the mind tries to find someone to blame for all our problems. But your problems are not caused by something out there. You are not upset for the reason you think you are. You are upset because you project something onto the outer world that is not there. I've talked about this before, but the outer world is without meaning. It is empty and devoid of any meaning or joy. Your mind projects itself onto the outer world and tries to explain the world using its own thoughts. So-and-so hates me because she's jealous of me. My boss doesn't like me because I challenge him at work. I cannot get a good job because the economy is bad. If only I was a millionaire, all these problems would go away. If only I could find a better paying job, my problems would go away. If only I had a more sexy wife, that problem would go away. That's your mind projecting itself onto the outer world, trying to explain away the inner pain by projecting your problems to the outer world. But like I said, the outer world is neutral. It has no meaning, good or bad. The outer world is not good in that it cannot give you happiness, but neither is it bad. The trees don't harm you. The clouds don't harm you. The sky doesn't hate you. The wind doesn't hate you. The sun doesn't hate you. The outer world neither hates you nor loves you. It is empty and devoid of meaning. But we project our own problems to the outer world in a way to blame it, to explain our pain. And that causes all our problems. Because we think that by solving the problems of the outer world, the inner problems will also be fixed. But that is not true. Just because we have projected our fears to the outer world does not mean the outer world is the cause of them. Any more than if you stand in front of a tree and scream at the tree, "You're a bad tree, you're a bad tree. You're the reason my wife left me. Bad tree, bad tree." It won't suddenly become the tree's fault that your wife left you. The root of all your problems lies inside of you. It is the pain of separation, the pain of not knowing who you are, the pain of forgetting who you are. So the solution is not to fix the problems of the outer world. And this includes being a goody good fellow and helping the poor or whatever. That is just another attempt by the ego to feel good by projecting its problems to the outer world. Like I've said, feel free to do good work in the outer world, but never think that it will solve all your problems or even solve the problems of the world. Your only problem, you think you have many problems. You think you might have a problem with your job, your relationship, people around you, your house, your car, whatever. You think you have many problems, but in fact, you only have one problem. And that problem is you have forgotten who you are. You have lost touch with the inner spring of joy, the inner source of joy and love and kindness that flows from within you. And you go around looking for this inner joy in the outer world, a world that is empty and devoid of meaning. So if you want to fix your unhappiness, your depression, and fix it for the long term, then there is only one solution. You have to go inside. You have to meditate. You have to get in touch with your inner self, your inner being, your true self. I must warn you though, that the path is hard and painful, because once you start meditating, all the shit, all the emotions you've been suppressing, it all comes up. and you will have to deal with it often while you're dealing with problems in the outer world. But that's the thing. Deal with it now or deal with it tomorrow when it comes out as disease or as problems in your relationship. You will have to deal with this problem sometime. Might as well deal with it now. Find the true source of your unhappiness, and you will find the way to go beyond it. So again, let me tell you the meditation. If you haven't done it, please do it. Do it again. Do it for a few days before sleeping. Just sit there and focus on your sadness. I know all these new age gurus tell you to think positive thoughts. Positive, positive, positive. But just thinking positive thoughts doesn't make you happy. Just like sitting in a car and making vroom vroom noises doesn't make the car work. Thinking happy thoughts is a way of fooling yourself. It is a make way of, if somebody shoots you in the stomach and you apply a band-aid on that, you will not stop the bleeding and you will not remove the bullet. Feeling happy thoughts is like that. You have a deep injury, a very deep injury that has been there for decades, even many lives. And you cannot cover up that injury just by thinking happy thoughts. So I want you to do the opposite. I want you to go into the sadness. This does not mean thinking about all the times you were unhappy because somebody did something to you. Please don't play the games of the ego. Oh, the world is so bad, everyone hates me. No. Going into the sadness does not mean finding out who to blame because of your unhappiness, or thinking about how everyone hates you, or thinking of stories why you are not happy. Don't think of any incident. Don't think of any reason why you are unhappy. Inside of you, either in your heart or in the pit of your stomach, lies the source of unhappiness, a pain that has been burning inside of you for many years, many decades, many lives. And that has nothing to do with what somebody said to you. So close your eyes and try to touch that inner source of pain, of sadness. What is that sadness trying to tell you? If you really touch the sadness, it will tell you how you can get beyond it. Your own inner self knows how to go beyond the pain, and it is willing to tell you if only you're willing to listen. So tell your mind to shut up for a minute. Stop making up stories. Stop trying to explain why you're unhappy. Your mind does not know the answer. It has never known the answer. Instead, go inside. Touch the sadness inside of you. Ask it how it feels. You might feel like crying. If you're doing it properly, you might feel like crying. You might feel angry. You might feel in pain. Whatever way you have been suppressing your emotions, they will all come up. But don't worry about them. Don't try to suppress them or make them go away. Don't try to explain them away. Just feel them, and that's it. And once you feel the pain, your own pain will tell you how you can go beyond it. Okay, that's your meditation. Don't suppress the pain. Don't run from it. Go deep inside and actually feel it. This pain is the real cause of your unhappiness. And if you can make your peace with it, it will tell you how to go beyond it. And that's when all your problems will be solved. You don't have many problems, you only have one problem. And that is the pain deep inside of you. So make your peace with it. Accept it and learn to go beyond it. And remember, if it becomes too much, if the sadness becomes too much, just breathe. Breath is like water that can wash away all your pain. Just feel the emotion, feel the pain, and take a deep breath. You might have to stay with it for a few breaths, but trust me, the pain will be washed away by the breath, which is actually the power of your consciousness, the power of your awareness. Rather than trying to run away from this pain, like you have been doing your whole life, like the so-called positivity thinkers have been telling you to, don't run from the pain, embrace it, give it a hug, feel it completely. There are multiple levels to it. There's a shallow level, which you will feel immediately, that will slowly melt away. And there's a deeper pain, which comes from not knowing who you are. And that will only go away once you spiritually awaken. But trust me, if you remove all the blockages in your path, if you remove all the shallow thoughts that you have put in yourself, in your mind, about where your pain comes from, if you make your peace with inner sadness, if you understand the inner sadness and you make your peace with it, you feel it, and you breathe into it and you let it go, then trust me, you're so much closer to spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakening is your natural state of being. You don't have to do anything to become awakened. It is not a special state, it is not a mystical state. It is a natural state. And it is natural because it is our true state, a state of joy, peace and happiness. But to feel that joy, you need to remove all the blockages in the way. And the best way to start is to make peace with the inner pain, the inner sadness. And once you can do that, you can go beyond pain and into true joy. So this is your homework, your assignment. Stop blaming the outer world for your pain. Go inside, touch the pain, feel it, breathe it, let it go. And trust me, the process is very easy. If you're doing it honestly, it's a very simple process. There's nothing to think about, no need to analyze, no need to do anything complex. It's a very simple process. And it'll just work, provided you are honest with yourself. You actually feel the pain. Don't try to suppress it or think about it or try to explain it away. Oh, I feel this way because my parents didn't love me. No, you're blaming someone else. Don't blame. Just feel the pain, let it go. And you won't become spiritually awakened immediately, but trust me, once you remove the pain, your inner joy will start flowing. Your inner being will start to awaken and slowly take over your life. And that's when the pain will go away. It might take many years. It does take many years. But trust me, it will happen. Thank you for listening. May all your pains be washed away in the breath of consciousness. Thank you. Thank you for listening. If you want a free course on how to contact your inner teacher, your own spiritual guide, the part of the divine who lives inside of you and is guiding your spiritual progress, then please go to my website, thepathtojoy.org. That is thepathtojoy.org. Thank you.